Karibu Sana. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. This is the Marcia Week Show, and we are coming to you live from Barbados. Asante Sana. It is a pleasure that you have joined us this evening. And we do hope and pray that this show tonight is going to be one that mobilizes, that educates, that agitates. That's the purpose of the Marcia Week Show. We mobilize, we educate, we agitate. We motivate Africa and the African diaspora. And that is our objective, really. That's why we sign on 4 times a week, 7 o'clock on Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You're going to hear us. We're going to come and we're going to present. We're going to discuss. We're going to challenge loyal opposition. That's what we are. We are the loyal opposition. Do you hear me? And as long as there's a government, it doesn't matter who's in government, we are going to stand up and we're going to open our mouths. We're going to speak up because that's what we do. That's what we do. And as I've said before on this show, folks, it's not funny. You know, people say, oh, we got 30 love. They got 30 love or they whatever, and they think it is so funny. It's so funny that you don't have an opposition? No. The people. It's the people. The people stand in that position and they speak up. And that's what we have been doing now. For some time, over a year and a half, we have been the voice of the opposition. We are happy that last year, February, Honorable Rob Thorne crossed the floor and he created 2 senators. And so we do have an opposing voice in Parliament and in the Senate. Very, very small. They're small in number, but not, Melissa, but not in power. You need to hear Mr. Thorne. He was in there yesterday. You need to hear him, you know. But I need to hear the senators too. They're doing a fantastic job. But I tell you, the people on the outside, all 280,000 of us, we are going to raise our voices. We are going to speak. So very, very important. When we don't speak, then corruption is going to thrive. Injustices will thrive when we don't speak. So let me just welcome you to the Marcia Week Show. Just a little, that was just a little reminder, Monica Ince, about what it is that we do here as a loyal opposition. Mildred Ben, good night. Teroni, good night. Judy Jilks, oh, I'm so glad you're feeling much better. Judy, you're always on, and we missed you when you weren't on. I'm glad you're out of the hospital and doing well. Lyric Lewis Jilks was on very early as well. Marcia, good evening. Tony Paris, are you ready? Tony Paris, are you ready? Are you ready? And will you continue to be that voice of opposition, or are we going to stop now? The voice of opposition. Are we going to stop now? Loyal opposition. Loyal daughter 66. Good night, loyal opposition. Stand up and keep on keeping on. We will not stop speaking. We will not stop. I'm telling you guys, we need to continue. It's very, very important to preserve democracy in this country. To preserve democracy for the sake of justice, we must continue to speak. Very important. And I'm going to say a few things about a one-party government. I'm going to talk to us about that again and remind us, Mystic Angel, Sir Alfred Benjamin, all the way from Brooklyn. Good night. Beverly Prescott, Evan Montague, Dale Worrell. Hey, Dale. Fabian Yard, Emilo. Good night, loyal opposition. Good night. Yes. There's a song that said they were tired for see we face. Them are got tired for see we face, but they can't get we out of the race. I am telling you, they would want to do whatever they can do, Trevor Seeley, but them are got tired for see we face. I tell you. Yes, change is coming. Change is here. It's here. Hi, Lucinda. How are you doing, Lucinda? We haven't chatted in a long time. Wendy Ford. Good evening, Matthew Brown. Good evening. Good evening, Stephen Knight. Good evening, CF Barbados. CF Barbados. Good evening, folks. At this point, we are going to go right into the national anthem, and that's our song. That's the music. That's what drives us. That's where we get that commitment from. And at this time, I'm going to ask us to stand. And if you're home, of course, if you're driving, you can't stand. But if you're home, you're in the bed, come on, man, stand up in your night clothes. You're in the kitchen, pause. I hope you're not cooking though, right? Not frying any plantains or anything. But pause a little bit and let us pay attention to the national anthem. Yes. Those of you who are joining us for the first time from another country, that is the national anthem of Barbados. And this is the Barbados flag, because from time to time we have people who join us from a different country, and we just, you wonder, what are they listening to? That's our national anthem. Isn't it beautiful? Very beautiful. And this is the flag. Yes, the broken trident. That's the flag of Barbados. Yes, I'm a proud Barjam. I'm a proud Barjam, and you're not going to change that. You're not going to change that. Well, folks, let's just do a rundown of what are we talking about tonight? What are we talking about tonight? Tonight, folks, we are going to look at the case with the PM MOTTLEY'S brother, Warren Mottley, and Dr. Griffith. Their questions, their concerns, their public query, We want to take a delicate look into that and have a discussion, and let us talk about some of the things that concern us. We're Barbadians, we live here, and there are some things that concern us. Read that particular case. So we're going to discuss that tonight, okay? We want to know what happened. There's a miracle that happened. Where did the pothole go? There's a pothole that disappeared in a day. Oh my goodness. We're going to talk about the power of citizens and social media. We want to take just a quick look at what is happening in the Democratic Republic, in the Congo. We want to talk about Rwanda and just what's happening with M23 there, okay? We want to look at this prepaying of taxes. Do you know that the government is asking people to prepay taxes? You're talking about small businesses to prepay taxes. And I've had reports from small businesses complaining how difficult that is. You know, a lot of them are having a lot of cash flow issues. And we have Senator Ryan Walters is going to come on the program, and we're going to have a discussion about that. How is that affecting small and medium enterprises? We're looking at the guns and politicians, law enforcement, the judicial system, businesses. The question is, are they all in bed together? Are they all in bed together? You know, we want to take a look at that and have a discussion. And as we look at that, we look at VYBZ cartel, because that's part of business, right? And so we want to look at why is he coming to Barbados at this time, or should he even come to Barbados? Should VYBZ cartel perform in Barbados? And I know people are saying, oh, but you were born in Jamaica and you're fighting against VYBZ cartel and all of that. But we're going to have a little discussion about that, okay? So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight. But I have a few quotes about corruption that we're going to look at as well before we jump into the program. I also have with me tonight Mr. Andrew Roberts, and he has a powerful story of his life, how his life was transformed from a life of, you know, being on the streets, on the blocks, to, you know, serving God, education, all of that. Okay, so we're going to have a full night for you tonight. It's going to be quite interesting. Somebody here saying the anthem is the best anthem in the world. Good night. Good night. Thank you, dear Dave Smith. Thank you for your compliment. I appreciate that. Thank you. Saying I look quite pretty tonight. Well, thank you so much. You know what? It's the blessings of the Lord. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Folks, I'm asking you kindly to share. Kindly to share. Now, when we look at corruption, we look at what's happening in a lot of countries. When we think of, you know, corruption, sometimes we only think of African countries, etc., because sometimes some of them, you know, are dictatorships, right? But what the question is, what happens when there is no political competition in a country? What happens when there is one party, okay, and it would appear as though the media and that one party that is in power is seeking to strangle all other parties, to decimate all other parties? I would submit to you, Barbados, that this is what is happening in Barbados. And so I want us to just look at this quote from Transparency International about corruption and political competition. Political competition. I know sometimes we complain and we say, oh, why is it they have all these third parties, and why is it all these parties? Barbadians, I want us to reach a place of maturity in the way we see things, Because what is happening is that I would see people skinning their teeth, laughing as though it was a football match and somebody got 30 love, or you're playing dominoes and you got 30 love. I want you to look at what is happening in Barbados today, in all spheres, in all sectors. Are we happy with what is happening? It was only almost a year that Mr. Thorne crossed and gave us one person out there. Before that, it was just us on the outside, screaming, marching. And we're happy with that? Do we see how quickly bills are passed? So let's look at this little quote from Transparency International. And it says, study finds that political competition matters. Corruption is typically higher in countries with intermediate levels of political competition than less democratic countries. However, once countries pass a threshold to higher levels of democracy, competition is associated with considerable corruption. In other words, in countries where political competition is limited, significant corruption is likely, even in the case of relatively free and fair elections. Transparency International. I want us Barbadians to stop and think about that. And those of you who are watching from other countries as well. It's important that there be political competition within a country. There's another slide that talks about competition and democracy. The study finds that an increase in democracy reduces the level of corruption. An increase in democracy. So anytime you see a government is trying to stifle democracy or to wring off its head, to take the wind out of us so we don't have a voice anymore, anytime they're trying to strangle democracy and to remove it, we understand that the level of corruption is going to increase. You're going to see corruption between all spheres. The police service within that particular country, the judiciary, you're going to see it among, all spheres, really. In the parliament, the Senate, all spheres. An increase in democracy reduces the level of corruption within a country. The author adds that a well-functioning and efficient government can help to reduce the levels of corruption by increasing the probability of detection and punishment of corruption activities. In addition, active political participation. Don't let anybody. I see people on here trying to convince us that it is good to have a one-party state. I have seen comments in this comment sections convincing us that our present condition is the best thing for Barbados. I've seen people on social media trying to convince us of that. That can never be the best for us. Never. We can see what is happening. We see the collusion. We see all the things that's happening in this country. Active political participation should be encouraged, such as political competition, This also contributes to reducing corruption, as it can help to push the government to formulate and implement anti-corruption programs. You need a strong opposition. We need political participation. We need political competition. Very important for there to be democracy, for this to be healthy, right? And I think that that is something that we need to, and I will keep reminding us about that on this show. So tonight we are looking at corruption, we're looking at injustices as it occur in a one-party government, one-party state. That's what they're trying to do. Thank God we have their other parties are getting their footing. And when you see the other parties are trying to get a footing up and stand up and be strong, don't tear them down. Find ways to encourage them. Write them. You see things that's not going right. Speak to people from the parties. And what can you do to strengthen those parties? It is for the betterment of Barbados that we have strong political participation, strong political competition, and democracy. That all of that feeds into gives us democracy, right? Somebody writes here, one party state is not good for any entity. How do you measure the checks and balances? The fox guarding his own lair. Good, that's correct. You must. You must. Yes, Tamika. I understand that. Well, what we have to do is to you say iron sharpens iron. Push the other political parties to become what we want them to be. The same way how we can provide an opposition to the government, push the political parties. But let me tell you, there is nothing we could pray as much as we want to pray, as though you believe in prayer. We could come on this show and we can talk as much as we talk, but we're not in parliament and we're not in the Senate. Do you understand? And the only way for people to get into the parliament and in the Senate and to make laws and all of these things, it's through politics. That's how it happens. Whatever you think of Trump, whether you're happy with what he's doing, some people are very upset with what he's doing. The point is that it's politics that put him there. And those of you who are happy with what he's doing, politics put him there, right? One way or the other. So politics. You understand? We need it. It's not something to be shunned. It's not something to say. Obviously, it's a type of politicians. That we have. Yeah. So I think that is important, guys. Are we sharing? Now, before enough on that for right now. As I tell you, we told you we have a pack show tonight, but I want to talk to you about school feeding program. As all of you know, most of you might know that Dave and I, we were in Kenya for about 18, 19 days and had a tremendous time. Went there on vacation, and we were invited. Well, we wanted to experience a little village life. And so, it wasn't in like a mud hut or anything like that, but it was very, very rural. So we visited the rural side of Kenya, and we met some children right there in Maturu. And out of that, we saw some needs that they had and felt that, you know what, let's see if we can help some of these children. We know we can't help all the children in Africa. We have stuff we're working on here in Barbados, in the Caribbean. We have other countries that people are needing help. But we are in part of this show, we say we motivate and we mobilize Africa and the African diaspora. So it's part of our mission statement. And so we are going to be doing this feeding program. And I just want to read a little news report that we've written on it for you. On the western plains of rural Kenya lies a vibrant yet struggling community of Maturo, where families depend on their crops for survival. In this community, the Maturo Primary School is home to 700 children aged 3 to 13. These children face an uphill battle, not just with their studies, but with hunger. For most families in Maturo, a single evening meal is all they can afford. As a result, the majority of children attend school without breakfast, a reality that severely hinders their ability to focus, retain information, and thrive academically. Studies have consistently shown that a solid breakfast is critical for brain development and learning, yet for many of these young students, it is a distant dream. In a groundbreaking move, the Marcia Week Show and Step by Step Films are proud to announce their partnership with the Maturo Primary School in launching the Maturo Primary School Feeding Program. This initiative is designed to provide every child with a bowl of hot sorghum or millet porridge each morning before classes begin. This feeding program is more than just a meal, shared a spokesperson for the initiative. It's an opportunity for these children to unlock their potential, giving their minds and bodies the nourishment they need to succeed. The program is a simple yet powerful solution to a critical problem, and its success depends on the kindness and generosity of people like you. For just 25 US dollars, you can provide breakfast to a child, ensuring that they start their day with energy and focus that they need to learn. And that's 25 US dollars per year. Per year. Donations can be made via PayPal to step-by-step films at gmail.com, or you can WhatsApp 1246-236-7000 for details on the local Barbadian bank account. When making donations, please indicate Maturo School Feeding Program. Together, we can rewrite the story for these children, one bowl of porridge at a time. Join us in making a lasting difference in the lives of these young learners. Wow. I tell you, the guys, I am just so excited about the possibilities of this particular program. I believe that it is going to be such a wonderful opportunity to touch the lives of people. All right, folks. All right. So thank you all so much. And remember, you can message me 1246-236-7000. And I believe that Dave is going to put the PayPal email address right there for you so that you can make the donation. All right. Thank you all so very much. All right. Now, later on, I'm going to talk to you about Amaya. I'm going to give you an update on Amaya as we go through the program, and then also about the Elevated for Learning program. So there's some initiatives that have started from just us being on here, or our people volunteering and just supporting each other. All right. So go ahead for me, people, and just be sharing. Have you shared? Have you liked? Have you subscribed? You have the little button there, right there on the left, the thumbs up button that you can click to like, and then you can subscribe. Okay. All righty. Now we have right there, you see the PayPal account that is on the screen, step-by-step-films at gmail.com. All right. That's where you can make your donation via PayPal, or you can WhatsApp us for the information, the banking information. And that's our people within Barbados. Okay, 1246-236-7000. Thank you so much. Well, we have with us Mr. Andrew Roberts. And Mr. Andrew Roberts, I love to tell you how I met Mr. Roberts. We had the program on last week Friday, and I had Dale Rowe on, and we were talking about initiatives that we could participate in the in the communities. All right, in tough communities, and so we were talking, about Wellington Street, Nelson Street, Chapman Lane, and those communities, because Dale has started an initiative in those areas, and he's working with the schools. And several of you who are watching, you started to send me, um, you know, information on yourselves, about yourselves, and volunteering to be part of the different programs. And so Andrew called me, and I returned the call, and we had a wonderful conversation. And what was so amazing, you see me smiling, it's a transformation that happened in this young man's life, and why he wanted to volunteer to help other young people who were on the streets, who were on the block, young people who are leaving school and they can't read and they can't write. So tonight, let me just welcome Mr. Andrew Roberts. Welcome, sir. You're muted,
Yes.
Mr.
Good
Roberts.
night. Good night, everyone. Yes, thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to be here, Mrs. Sweet.
Yes, Mr. Roberts, I was saying to the audience, I was so very happy to have met you and to hear your story, and of exactly why you wanted to volunteer, um, to help the students in some of the very tough communities. I wanted to start at the beginning. So you were watching the show and you heard, you heard what the appeal we were making. Let me hear from your. Tell the people why you called me.
Okay. Everyone, I want to make sure everyone is okay. Have a little hoarse right now. Right.
Yes, we can still hear you.
Okay. Right. Yes. First, let me say I'm 45 years old. Right. Um, I just wanted to share my experience with those persons out there, especially the young men. Right. Because I am one who really strongly believe that some of these lives can be turned around from very early,
Mm-hmm.
because that was my own experience. So I will start from, let's say, from my primary school days. At primary school, I was a very quiet person, but it is when I was transferred to secondary school and I went to the Combermere school, right?
Mm-hmm.
That in first form, I had the experience of being bullied, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after a while, I guess it got a little annoying, right? So what I decided to do to get this person to stop bullying me is that one day when he was in the midst of doing that, I might would have took a piece of board and I
Oh
might
boy.
have hit him in the head, right? But to be honest, the bullying somehow stopped. It stopped, right? So I told myself, I guess this is what I have to do. I have to somehow bear this bad boy image,
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't stand up to these guys, I guess you're gonna come again and come again, right? So let's just say that is what I somehow went forward with, gaining
Mm-hmm.
some kind of image as a bad boy, rude boy. And for some, like let's say I started hanging with persons who had already had that kind of image,
Yes.
right? Whether it's first form level up to second form level, I just made sure I hang with these guys who had that image,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who was well known to be one that you don't mess with, right? In a sense. So let's say as I had that kind of experience, my interest in schoolwork started to dwindle. You understand?
Yes.
I just had no more interest in schoolwork, right? So all of a sudden, I guess my grades in class were very poor, poor to the extent that I was coming like even last or second last in class.
Mm-hmm.
So I went straight to let's say for form, right? But I never got past for form because I had to repeat for form, and then
Yeah.
it came to a bunch of us where we had to go in to see the principal. She placed a bunch of books in our hands, and she says, "Well, we don't need you to be at the school anymore." So
Oh
I was
my.
just that being kicked out or being expelled. It was
Exactly
just
what age you were when you were expelled. You were given a book. So people listen carefully. So he was given some books. At least that was, she gave you something. She said, take a couple books and don't come back. What age were you?
I believe that was at age 15. Yes, 15.
At 15 years old, he was expelled from school. And what happened, Mr. Roberts, after that?
Well, after that, let's say I decided, well, I know me, I have to work, right? But it took a while, but I don't know. I was a little delinquent, I must say. So I had 5 quick jobs, 3 last a week, 2 last maybe a month. I
Mm-hmm.
either might would have left the job or because of the work maybe too hard or burdensome, I
Yes.
was fired from the job, right? But it was when I was expelled that I had made the decision that I should go now and line on the block. Now
So
I
after
must
you
say
got expelled, you said you got a job, right?
5 quick jobs, 5 quick jobs,
Quick
one after
job,
the other.
quick jobs. You got. I like how you
Three,
put
three last a week, 2 last a month.
two last, three last. He was 15. Three last a week and two last a month. So he had
Yeah.
five quick jobs. And when those quick jobs were over, then you decided that you're gonna lime on the block. And you made that decision. It's something you sat down and thought about, or it just happened.
All I can say is that I still wanted to bear that image continually,
A
right?
bad boy.
So that's why I decided, that's why I must say the block means a lot. The block may mean different things to different people in many ways,
Mhm.
right? But let's say for me, it wasn't really about me going to smoke or drink because I had a childhood sickness, right? Which basically I could not mess with those kind of things because
Mhm.
it would have obviously caused, harm because I was on medication, right? So I knew that I couldn't really mess with those things, right? So I did still wanted to bear that image, to grow up as one known that can be a rude boy or a bad boy, one that you don't, mess with, right? So I was hanging with some persons once in a while, whether it was we play games, whether it was we played sporting activities. The
Yes.
point is, if you're hanging around persons that can have you, let's say, have that bad influence
Hmm.
upon you, or somehow in the sense that it might be dangerous to hang around certain people, then the best thing I can advise any young person is to leave that place immediately, right?
Hmm.
So being there for a little while, it was when I was playing a game with a bunch of friends that was also, laming on the block once in a while. I got into a big fight, to be honest. And here, everyone is cheering this gentleman on. Beat him, beat him. Because I was kind of like still new on the block. Everybody had knowledge of this and relationship with this other guy, before me. Because I wasn't there at that length of time that he was there, right? So what happened is that that's exactly what he was doing, beating me.
Mm.
So it was actually I saw my life flash right before my eyes because here's this gentleman with a half of a brick in his hand, and he's ready now to bring it down upon my head, right?
Hmm.
But for some reason, his hand came to a halt, right? And when that fight was over, I when I got up, I just told myself, I don't think that this is the right place for me, because I mean, if we are all good friends, why are you cheering the gentleman on to beat me rather than to stop the fight? Right. So I say to myself, I don't think that these are the persons I maybe should hang around with, right? So that's what I'm saying is like if the wanting of that bad boy image was beginning to, you know, leave me, leave me because of the experience of that fight, right?
Yeah.
So what I decided to do is that okay, I'm gonna stay home now, but I was still worried as to what's going to happen now with my life. I mean, I don't have any CXCs. I don't have anything. I decided to stay home, but who do I know that I can find myself back to a job, right? So what happened is that my brother, I had a loving brother who started encouraging me. "Hey, you went to good school, you went to Common Mere. Maybe you should not stop education. Even if you have to pay, go and learn some more CXCs and see what can happen." So I decided, okay, maybe that's the best thing to do. But before I even had the chance or opportunity to do that, I was hearing on the radio, oh, we are going to be giving out 10 scholarships. This is a partnership between VOB and Voice of Barbados and the O-Level Institute. So what happened is that this was about inviting certain persons who didn't have the opportunity to do these certificates, right? They're giving you now the opportunity to come back to education, where you will obviously have to do it for free. They will pay the price, right? But they were only giving 10 persons the opportunity to do that. All you had to do is write a letter to the Voice of Barbados stating why you wanted to return to education, right? That's what you had to do. I didn't even have the confidence in myself to do that. So I asked my brother, okay, all right, write that letter for me, right? And let's see what can happen. That's what he did. He wrote that letter to the Voice of Barbados. So while I waited till the names came out, returned to the air so that persons could, let's say, know, who was chosen. What happened is that I sat at the radio quiet, and as I said, I listened carefully to the names. Only 10 persons, not one single name was my name. So I got so disappointed. I said, I could have never been, lucky. I could have never been that lucky, right? But it was the next morning where I would have received a call from the well-known David Ellis. And here's his words. After reading your letter again, I must make you the 11th. Right.
So hold a minute. So they had called the 10 names.
Yes.
They had called the 10 names, and you sat down and saying to yourself, my goodness, I wasn't included. I wasn't included. And then all of a sudden, after it was closed,
yes,
then they called you.
Yes, the gentleman called me and he said, after reading the letter again, I must make you the 11th.
So hold a minute. You said your brother wrote the letter for you.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very
yes,
nice.
He did. Right. So I say to myself, no, this is not coincidence. This is God Almighty. This is a miracle to me. Right. So what that did is that actually opened the door for me not to be just educated again freely, but that actually opened the door for me wanting now to know more about the one that just did this miracle for me. So I wanted to know God. I wanted to develop a relationship with God, right? So as I went at the O-Level Institute, I did about 5 CXCs, right? When the results would have came out after I sat these exams, I didn't return. All 5 did not return to me. I only actually received 2 certificates.
Okay.
But you see, it had already been implanted in me what God wanted me to do. Keep pushing.
Yes.
Right. So I continued and continued until I finally say, okay, 6 certificates you have right now, Andrew. That's good.
Wow.
That's good. Right. And
Hold
that
a
would have
minute. Pause there. I'm with David Ellis. Anybody's listening and you have a number for David Ellis, please send him this link. Listen, we are going to give Jack his jacket. David Ellis, whatever spoke to you, some people might say it's God or, David Ellis, take a bow. Star come, take a bow. That is this is how we make a difference, Anton Andrew, and this in people's lives. Star come, take a bow. They had a program where they were offering scholarships. So important. Look how this young man's life was turned around because he got a scholarship from Starcom Network. Take a bow, David Ellis. Wonderful job. Continue, please.
Okay then. Thank you. Right. So I would have received my first solid job now in this was 1999 now, right? So I would have actually had that job at what is known as Jewett Manufacturing, right? That's where I worked for 2 years, and it was actually well respected, right? Because at secondary school, my nickname was Bob, but when I actually went to Jewett, my nickname was now Brother Bob.
Brother Bob.
Being respected, how you get along with everyone, how you even share what you know about God, right? Right. But it is 2001 now I decided, no, Andrew, go further. You have that intelligence, go further. So I decided now to apply to the for an associate degree at a community college.
Yes.
So I did that for 2 years. I did that in sociology and IT, right? So that's what I have this associate degree in. So that took 2 years. So it's now 2003, right? So I decided maybe I should go and work. But this is where my brother said, no, go on, further your education. So that's when I then applied to the university for computer studies, but that's not really what I wanted to do.
Right.
But I just did the first year program, and then I transferred the next year to social work because I had that desire of wanting to help people, wanting to be able not just to share what I went through, but to be able to give motivation and advice to younger people as well, right? And older persons, even if I had that opportunity, right? So that is where now I would have taken a while though to get back that degree because something happened. I came down somehow with an illness that slowed down my performance in this social work program. So after a while, I guess the leader of that program asked me, well, okay, maybe do you think that you want to try something different? I didn't want to try anything different, right? I just didn't understand what was happening. It's just that I decided, well, okay, I should think that this is best. Maybe I should do it. But I didn't want to release social work. So I decided to pick up a program called Sociology with Social Work, right? So that was the program that I actually continued doing, right? And that's what I have a degree
That's
right
what
now.
and you have your degree in sociology. In
Sociology
social. Tell me.
Sociology with social work. That means
that's what I was going to say. Sociology with social work. Now, because of the oh, somebody said they sent the message to David. Just because of time. So here it is. Let's summarize this miracle. Here it is that you were kicked out of Combermere. The principal gave you some books at 15 and tell you don't come back. Because you were a bad boy in school and you came out and you tried to work, but then you ended up on the blocks, and from the blocks you were offered a scholarship to go to what do you call
O-Level Institute.
O-Level Institute, and the scholarship was by Starcom, and David Ellis was
partnership between the two. Yes.
And you went and got your 6 CXCs over time. It didn't just happen in one shot. Important to say that. And here it is. Now you have your degree. Now, what is it that you called me? You called because why? Why did you call me? What do you want to do?
Well, as I said, I want to be able to reach young persons, not just mentor them, but I also want to be able to counsel persons that might be going through these difficult situations. It doesn't only have to be a boy, it can be a girl, because what I'm saying is that it just didn't even end there, because I was unemployed for years. So imagine a young man with a degree and still couldn't even find a job. I even asked God, but why did you brought me back to education and I still can't even find a job with this degree?
Wow.
You know, so all I can say is that I was unemployed for quite a lot of years, but the opportunity for another solid job only actually came in 2023. So and I would have graduated like let's say 2013.
Yes.
And then I went at open campus, and when I went at open campus, I did a certificate in guidance and counseling, right? So all of these helped me to know that this is in the sense of God's calling for me, right? He wants me to go down that road to help people and talk to people, encourage people, motivate people, counsel, all these things. Right. So what I'm saying is that,
yes.
Right. You want to go on?
Yes, continue, please.
Right. But I'm just saying that because it was difficult in finding a job, I had to release myself a little from it for a while. And that's in 2023, I would have heard about cybersecurity, doing a cybersecurity program through Cyber Nations.
And you did that as well. So I just want to congratulate you, sir. Mr. Andrew Roberts, and from time to time, it's so important, Mr. Roberts, that we celebrate these victories. We celebrate these victories and we recognize, yes, they're miracles, but these miracles occurred through people. And that's why when we come on the show, Mr. Roberts, we ask for volunteers. We have the Elevated for Life program. I think it's a good time that Dave, if he's able to put the poster up for Elevated for Life, that is being run by teachers who are now retired teachers. They do the Elevated for Life program where they improve literacy, enhance skills, prepare people for work. And we do ask for volunteers. We ask for financial help. We ask for snacks for the children, right? Whatever it is. And here it is. We have someone who's saying, Marcia, I was helped. David Ellis and Starcom Network helped me to finish my education. I want to volunteer. That's what Mr. Andrew Roberts is saying. And if you are here, you're listening, and you want to volunteer to help Elevated. Remember, Elevated is going to be going into Wellington Street and also Nelson Street. We are working in those areas, and we are looking for volunteers. We have some names. What we're going to do, we are going to team up with Dale Rowe and go into these communities, Chapman Lane, etc. And we're going to do after school program. And that's what Andrew Roberts has called me to volunteer for. And I'm saying to everybody, let's join up. Elevated readiness for the next stage, Elevated for learning. If you want to be part of that, and you have some time and you want to donate some time, probably you might have books in good condition, you might have snacks you want to give the children, you might have toys, you might have something, you might have a space. Are you in any of those areas? Chapman Lane, Lightfoot Lane, Wellington Street, Nelson Street, and you have some space, and you say, Marcia, that you can use some space in my community, and we're going to do some after school programs for the children, okay? And so that is what this is all about. Each one reach one, right, Andrew? Yes. Yeah, each one reach one. What's your final word that you want to say to the people that are watching?
Well, all I can say is that please do not necessarily just see it as, oh, here's an opportunity for a young man to turn his life around, because what I'm just trying to say is that I couldn't take that credit on my own. I obviously have to give that credit to God Almighty, right? He's the one that have kept me going. So a lot of young people, they just may not want to hear much about God, but he's the key, right? Because from since that time that he did what he did for me, I never looked back, right? So I'm not just one with a degree and certificates now, and with a more brighter knowledge in counseling and mentoring and that situation. I'm also one who's gone further in ministry. What I'm saying, I'm one who do Bible studies. I'm one who are allowed to go at my church to come up to the stage and even deliver sermons once in a while. So it is not just me taking credit for all of this, right? I just want people to obviously think that there's a God up there who obviously cares, and he's the one that can obviously turn your whole complete life around, right?
Yes.
And he's the one that will guide you step by step, day by day,
Day by day,
all
yes.
throughout your process. As long as you can hold on to him,
Yes.
he's the one
And
that will.
I love the fact that you are giving God all the praise and the thanks. But I also want to mention, not, I want to mention your brother, because your brother had to be obedient to God in pushing you all the way. You had to be obedient to God in going to the classes, and you had to study hard and So sometimes when we say God, people don't realize all the hard work that you have to put in. Mr. David Ellis, some Starcom Network, had to listen to his heart and that desire to be, to wanting to reach out to you, and the kindness that was stirring in his heart. He obeyed that and he called you. Well, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Roberts,
Thank
for
you very much.
tonight, and with this very, very, very encouraging story. People are saying congratulations to you, and we are happy to have you on board for the Elevated program. Thank you so much. God bless
Yes,
you.
thank you very much. God bless you all. Yes.
Yes, bye bye. Thank you. Wow, isn't that awesome, guys? That is awesome. That is awesome. That is positivity, right? That is being positive. That is some of the positive energy that we need to keep pushing, and it's community, helping each other, pushing each other. We are the solution, guys. We are the solution. Starcom did it for this man. He's 45 years old and he has not forgotten it. His life was changed because David Ellis made that call to this man. Do you see what I mean? So don't you ever think that what you do on the show, or your volunteerism, your donations, whatever, don't ever take it for granted. You are changing and you are touching a life, one person at a time. All right. So remember that you can give me a call at 1246-236-7000 if you want to donate some time in teaching math, English, reading, writing. You're skilled in counseling. I had a counselor call me this week. She's retired, and she said, listen, I can speak with children, all of that. Okay. Anything that you believe you can help, and to help this generation instead of just criticizing. The issue with the crime and the violence is not I don't see it as a solely, it's all political issue. I don't even see it as political, really. I understand that there are things that the government need to do. There are policies that the government will need to put in place, and in that sense, it's political. But what I'm saying, though, is that a lot of the changes can happen between you and I. By you and I, we can make those changes. There are lots of changes that we can do. We just need to look around our community and see what is happening. Our young people are in need, and to reach out to them. What are we going to do? We can sit on our high horses and we can criticize. Yes, we could criticize the government from now until tomorrow. The point is that the crime is increasing and we're scared to go in our cars. We're scared to go to events. We're locking our doors, etc. And we still are going to just sit down locked up in our houses and blaming the government. There are some things that we can do. What if Starcom did not have that program to help this young man when he was out there on the blocks? Huh? What if that did not happen? What may have happened to his life now? Yeah. So we need all hands on deck, guys. Stop. It's not just the government. It can't be. It can't be. Now, don't come and say, Marcia, you're letting them get off the hook with things that there are things that they need to do. And you're going to hear as we continue tonight. We're going to talk about some of the things that they need to do. Okay? Yeah. But in the meantime, I am saying now, as we because I know some of you, loyal daughters saying it is a social problem. It is a social problem. Well, as we are moving on tonight. We are moving on tonight. And I had a little, I see my next guest is here, and I'm just gonna ask him to give me 2 minutes to look at this disappearing. Dave, can you put up the pothole picture for me? Listen, this disappearing pothole, but you know, it seems like a joke, but it's not really a joke. It's I call it a pothole miracles. Dave, can you put up the first pothole where the guy? Did you all see that the guy was swimming around? Thanks to Dunksman, was swimming around in the thing. I think it has, just so everybody knows, though, it does have, I think, it does have a little vowel in there, right? It has some words in there. So I won't play it on here. But that's the guy. That's a guy who's swimming around in a pothole, right? That's what they say is a pothole. He was drinking a Banks beer and swimming around in the pothole. And it seems like, it appears like the very next day, this is after it was shown on social media, right? After it was shown on social media, people had a good laugh. Everybody was sending it all around. And I'm sure this has gone way past Barbados because it's hilarious, right? And he's swimming around, drinking a beer, having a drink in there, and they're playing "The Beach Is Mine" by Gabby. It appears that the very next day, Dave, let's see the next picture. Let's see the next picture. Right? Look what happened. I don't know if it's the very next day. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Or it was very soon after. It seemed, the way Dunksman reported it, it seemed like it was very soon after we saw this. Okay, so I'm just waiting on it to be on the screen. That's what we saw. Look at the screen. Where's the pothole? Huh? Where is the pothole? It's gone, disappeared. And what? Why?
So let's hold this social media thing.
Yeah, I think he's saying that if they didn't highlight it, if they didn't use social media and highlight the situation, it probably would not have happened. The pothole disappeared. Right? Pothole disappeared, guys. And this is courtesy of Dunksman. And, we want to commend Dunksman. We want to commend everybody who use social media for positive. Because, listen, we might not have the whole lot of people in Parliament and in the Senate, but we are outside. This is what I talk about us being the opposition. You understand? We make up the opposition. It's just not just Mr. Thorne and Ryan Walters and Senator Andre Worrell, but we make up the opposition. Yes, and we need our voices to be heard. Use the social media. Speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up. Dunksman, wherever you are, take a bow. Awesome job. Awesome job. All right. Well, let me just welcome our Senator Ryan Walters here with us tonight. Welcome, sir.
Hi, good night, Marcia. Good night to you. Good night to your viewers.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure having you. And we just want to say thanks to you every week for standing up, being in that Senate, and plus the preparation that goes in so that you can be a voice of the people. You know, we do not take that for granted, Senator Walters. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you, sir.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for the recognition. Always good to be on your show to discuss topics of your choice and to share with your viewers. So thank you again.
Well, you know, someone sent me a little voice note. In fact, they sent it to someone and they said, you know what, can you send this to Marcia Weeks for me? And I listened, you know, when they sent things, because that's the reason we exist. And so I listened keenly to the voice note. I think I listened to it twice, and I could hear the pain in that businessman's voice. And he was talking about the prepayment of taxes, and I wasn't aware of it. I'm not sure if I was in the island when that was being done, or long ago. I don't know. Somehow that totally missed me, and so I went to research it, and then I reached out to you because I know you're a businessman, and I reached out to you, and I think I sent it to Dave, and so I'm going to ask Dave to, if he could put it up on the screen for me, but so that we can tell people exactly what it's all about, right? And it's this is from the Barbados Revenue Authority, and it says a prepayment of tax. Every company whose fiscal period ends at any time during January 1st to September 30th in any year, both days inclusive, shall pay 50% of the tax paid or payable on the total income declared for the previous income year, not later than September 15th of the current year. Any balance due is payable on filing on March 15th. Right? This is what we're
Yeah.
dealing with, right,
No,
Mr.
this is the previous regime. All right.
Right.
So previously, you would file once a year, but you'll make a prepayment kind of midterm of your financial period.
Yes.
Right? So there are two payments. There's a prepayment, one prepayment, and then you, at the end, when you actually do the filing, you then pay the difference, top up, etc., based on what you actually owe the government.
Yes.
Right. What the government has done is that they have moved from two payments, one prepayment and a filing, to 12 payments, which is 11 prepayments, and then
the
any
last
12 with the
payment.
filing. Yes.
Right.
Right. So it's a significant change. I know it's not something that will affect consumers, like the average person that goes and buys goods in supermarkets, etc. But it is something that would affect a lot of small businesses who are incorporated and who are paying taxes, legitimately so. We must sit to recognize, though, I think we should applaud these businesses that are actually paying taxes. As you know, there are a lot of small and medium-sized businesses in Barbados are not fully operational. They may be registered, but they're not registered through the whole system. And they're not contributing to the tax net, so they're not carrying their fair share. So for the companies that are, we must recognize them in a positive way. I think that's the first thing we must acknowledge, right? I think that any company, any business owner that steps up and says, I want to do the right thing, I want to be legitimate, I want to pay my staff above minimum wage, I want to pay their national insurance, I want to pay the taxes, whatever taxes are associated with the employment. I want to make sure that they don't have a 6-month contract, but they have full employment, that they can get proper benefits, they can get a job letter, and so forth. Of course, this is where we should be as a country, where we are going, and what example the government has set is that they've taken us off this trajectory. And they have, obviously, you heard with the ASH workers, with the school monitors.
Yes.
There's some people still at NCC, that you've heard that they have gone another direction as relates to employment terms, agreements, payment of wages and payment of benefits and statutory obligations. So I think to start this off, I really want to, as a small business champion myself, I really want to give kudos to those small and medium-sized businesses out there who are doing the right thing. Now, if you come to this decision, moving from 2 payments to 12 payments. Now, Marcia, if you are in some sort of partnership with someone and they've agreed to pay you 2 payments a year, and you decide that you want 12 payments, it is generally because you need cash.
Need cash, correct.
Need cash.
Correct.
There's no other reason, right? There's no other reason, because it doesn't, prepaying doesn't allow a person to pay more than they're obligated to.
Right.
So it's not a matter of you will get more, you will just get more faster.
Right. Right.
So it is no secret that this government is in a cash trap position. They need cash. We know that they've run almost $1 billion in deficits for the year 2024 to 2025, which now ends at March this year. So the 3 months, and there's a big deficit. We heard the Minister of Finance, or one of the Ministers of Finance, say that they were still looking for close to just over $300 million, and that was around October last year.
Yes, right? I saw that online. It's a little over 300 million to fill the deficit by March 31st.
Right. So they run large deficits, and then they do not have the cash to fulfill those obligations that they've committed to on behalf of the taxpayers of the country. So now, in a position where they now have to be unfair to small and medium-sized businesses, especially, who are carefully managing their cash so that they can continue to do the right thing. These are people that want to do the right thing.
Yes.
January and February are your 2 slowest months in business generally. You know, coming out of Christmas, everybody does spend ham and the drinks, and all the spending happens in December. People start to wean off and catch back themselves. You're on social media sometimes, you hear that people can't wait to payday in January, right? And so it's a real slow period for businesses, January and February. Along with that, throughout the year, there's always slow periods of businesses outside of crop over maybe, and outside of Christmas, but it depends on the type of business. So I'm saying that to say that, you know, your revenue fluctuates.
Exactly, yes.
But you're asking people to commit to paying taxes steadily over a period of time when they need money in these downtimes, especially to pay their staff, to pay their rent, to purchase stock and make sure that they're getting ready for the more critical times in their business. So you're drawing money outside of their businesses and not allowing enough time to plan. And a lot of these small businesses, I'm not going to get into the headache of the actual filing, etc. But a lot of these small businesses do not have access to overdraft facilities and ready cash like large businesses do, that can facilitate these type of transactions monthly.
But I know one thing, you know, Mr. Senator Walters. I was speaking with an accountant, and the accountant with a CPA, and he actually said to me, Marcia, it's very burdensome for businesses because, you know, he would have to see them. Yes. But he said it's good business for me because they have to pay me. Yes. So each time there is a filing, it's not just the taxes that they have to pay. Each time, because you're saying 11 payments, but they have to also pay the accountant to do the filing for them. Extra. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So it's more finances. It is burdensome on them as a routine. It is more cash out of the business when they need the cash most, and then they are adding to your expenditure because again you're paying your service providers because you do not have the resources to have a full accounting team at your disposal, etc. So it's really a real balancing act. But why, we go back to the question, why would you move from 2 payments to 12 payments? Because the government needs to have cash at its disposal.
Yes.
Right.
So they have a cash flow problem, and then
they have a cash flow problem.
right, their cash flow is negative. So now what they're doing, they are calling on the businesses.
Correct.
Right. And wow.
But
wow.
this doesn't solve the issue of
Somebody
cash flow.
said to break that down, they don't understand. What is it you don't understand? Because I want to make sure that we understand what. Can you say what you don't understand? If I could just say, just repeat a little, because what you're saying basically is that when they have to pay, they're paying every month, the 11 payments. All right. 11 payments. It's not that they're paying more, but the point is that money that in some of the months where they're low on revenue, right? They have to use money that they would have to pay staff. They have to pay operation costs, all the different things.
Inventory, inventory,
all of
utilities, etc. Yeah.
So basically, they're taking the money that they need to put in the business to generate revenue for the next month that they have to use to pay the government taxes and to pay the accountant to file. So in essence, it is disrupting their cash flow. In fact, what businesses are saying is that they're operating in a negative cash flow, which means that eventually some of these small businesses will be out of business.
But Marcia, and anybody that runs a business, as small as it may be, from the person that is selling chicken and chips on the road, or fish and chips, or food from their house, they have to invest in buying groceries, making sure they have bottled gas, making sure they have everything before they make a cent. So although they're making money, the cash is always their problem, because they not only do they have to do that, they also have to pay their bills. So cash is always something that any business person, whether very small to micro to very big, has to manage. So you can be a multi-billion-dollar corporation, but you're doing so much things that you even need your cash as well, right? Because you're not letting your cash sit there either. You want it to work for you, you know. So, but if you're focused on the small micro businesses, everything you explain is correct. So it's a real balancing act for them. It is unnecessary.
Yeah. Hold a minute there, Senator Walters. I think someone is not understanding. So, VOI, so if they don't pay taxes, how do they take care of their old age contribution of staff and self? So it is not that Senator Walters that we are concerned, that we're saying that they should not pay taxes. In fact, Senator Walters is commending those businesses that are paying taxes. What he's saying is the frequency, it's the payment, the prepayment of the taxes, and how the payment. If I'm accustomed to paying my mortgage, I do it once a month when I get paid. Let's take that for example, and they now say I must pay by the week or by the day. It's gonna be a challenge. Yes, it's the same amount that I'm paying. And I want to pay my mortgage because I don't want to lose my house. But the problem is my cash flow at that time. I'm accustomed paying twice a year. I'm now asked to make 11 payments and then a filing at the end of the year.
Right.
Is that correct?
And just to clarify, we're talking about corporation tax. It is not personal tax, like pension taxes, etc. We're talking about corporation tax that doesn't interfere with old age contributions, national insurance, or anything like that. And we're not talking about the fact that businesses are delinquent. We're saying that businesses are asked now to do this thing in a greater frequency than they would in the past. But at the end of the day, it's the same result. But the implications of that one decision is very disadvantageous to small, micro, and medium-sized businesses who have to have a balancing act with their cash flow in terms of what they receive and what they have to spend, etc. But if we move, Marcia, to why the government will want to do that,
yes,
that's the question we have to ask. They did not explain properly why they would want to do that. But clearly, they're running almost $1 billion in deficit. clearly they have stated that they are in a position where they still are looking for over $300 million to finish out the year. We are not sure that they have raised this money. Actually, I could probably say that they have not raised this money. So they're going to use these prepayments to pay their bills. And then it looks as though they're going to use these prepayments to carry out an agenda over the next 12 months that will be benefit to their political party.
Yes.
All signals are saying to us that this is a way for the government to get access to more taxpayers' money so that they can carry out an agenda to fit the Barbados Labour Party's mandate. Not the people of Barbados.
Not so, because the businesses, it's a small businesses that reached out to me to say, Marcia, please speak about this, because this is killing us right now in this kind of economic environment. What's happening? This is an added strain on us, and we are not able to meet our obligations when the month comes. So somebody's saying, answer my question. Are you speaking about prepayments for self-employed and companies?
Companies only.
Companies.
So these are companies only. Right?
And you kept saying that are registered.
Registered incorporated companies, not registered businesses, but they're incorporated companies. Right? And the educational response, the educational response from them that they would want to give us is that small businesses are exempt, but their approved small businesses are exempt. And I took a look at the Small Business Association's website this morning, or this afternoon when we spoke, sorry. And the approved, there are only about 150 approved small businesses out of a market of 9,000 formal small businesses in Barbados.
Wow.
So 150 over 9,000. We're talking about less than 5%. Because the whole process of being an approved small business is very difficult to be approved, and it is very costly as well. So it's not something that a lot of persons pursue to start with. So as a whole, I think you must commend the SBA because they're doing a whole education exercise to try to get people in. And I know for sure that they have been lobbying to get some amendments to the Small Business Development Act as well, so that it's easier for a business to become a pool small business. So there's really no excuse. You're talking about hundreds of businesses out there that are very small. Some are incorporated and will fall under this. And even if we step outside the realm of the small and medium businesses, the government wants to get money to carry out a program for the Barbados Labour Party, not for the people of Barbados. That is what it looks like to us. They have not clearly identified that they have sufficiently been funded to cover the deficit of almost $1 billion that in the financial year that ends in March of this year.
Right.
They have not. So they're going to use this money. Let me give you an idea of how much money we're talking about. We're talking about anywhere between $550 million to almost $1 billion, because there was a shift in corporation taxes in terms of some tax amendments. So the tax rate moved from over 5% to around 9%, to almost doubled. So the tax take in 2022-2023 was $548.8 million. That will go close to $1 billion because it almost doubled, right? So we're talking about a whole set of money now that will be divided over 12 equal payments for the government then to take out, do regathering, to take out, have a political program every month in a constituency. We don't know this.
Don't forget the feds and all of that they're free food.
This is all part of the regathering.
Yeah.
Now remember, the regathering, there's no transparency at all. We hear the BTMI is involved in it. We hear the National Cultural Foundation is involved with it. But we don't know how much money is being spent, where the money is coming from. But we can see a whole set of programs in St. Lucie. And if that is any indication of what will happen for the next 12 months, it is going to be a whole washpan of taxpayers' money that's going to be spent. For what purpose? We do not know. We do not have any data to show that persons are really coming home. We do not have any data to show that this is any benefit to the persons in St. Lucie that still have bad water, still have poor infrastructure. And as we move through the constituencies and the parishes, you're going to see a replica of the challenges that householders and taxpayers are facing. And rather than addressing these issues, they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars unaccounted for to hold this regathering. But if they don't have money, they have to find a way to get the money. So the businesses now have to pay early so they can use the money. And if they misuse the money, then they don't have money to do the things that we want.
Yeah,
they don't have money to do the things that we want.
But we had seen from the budget that they committed to spend at least. We had done it on the show. I think it's about $1 billion they were short in the budget. So they're finding ways to
get that money in. Yeah, but they're still going to be short because to fill that gap, you either have to earn it, borrow it, or tax it from agents. You can't ask for advance payments from corporations. It doesn't change the situation.
Right, I see.
Right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
The way to fill a gap is to earn more revenue. Have a economy that is bustling with construction, that is bustling with tourism, that's bustling with new businesses setting up. We're not saying that. We're hearing a lot about it, but no houses are being built.
Yeah.
Tourists are starting to come back, but they're spending less in Barbados. So they're not, although there are more tourists, you're getting less spend. You're not seeing that new businesses popped up. I mean, we drive around Barbados, we go to the malls, shopping complexes, and sometimes we see more empty spaces than we are seeing new development.
It is true. It is true.
So the way to get out of a deficit is to earn your way out, borrow your way out, or tax your way out. Not to ask for prepared, not to ask for
they're borrowing. We can see what's happening. They're borrowing their way and they're taxing their way.
They're borrowing their way and they're taxing.
Borrow and tax. Yeah. Someone is asking if someone overpays, but actually owes less taxes by end of year, would they get back money that they paid in?
Yes, because you would get back money, but you have
it's when.
But I think to be fair, I think how the mechanism is built is that you might have that flexibility month to month to make some adjustments as you go. I think when I read the release as well, I think you could actually opt for a lower payment than they have been expecting as well. So there's some things that are flexible. We're not really questioning the mechanism. I think the mechanism might work.
Yes.
We're questioning why they need to do it and what they're going to do with this money. Right? And then when they do spend the money, they're going to find themselves in a similar situation 12 months from now because they've not solved the problem
of increasing the revenue. But you know, Senator, I'm saying that I don't mind. I understand collective responsibility. I understand us, realizing, okay, we are in a bind and everybody, we've got to help and so on. But if I knew that the money that we need, we're going to do this because we're going to build a new hospital, say, for example, you understand? And we are doing this because we're doing this, and you get everybody on board. Man, we're going to get a new hospital and we're going to improve the services at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. I think that people would not mind. But when we don't see it and all we're seeing is FET and FET and FET. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We're not seeing the requisite upgrades, facilities, schools, hospitals, road infrastructure, services provided to taxpayers. We're not seeing upgraded anything at all. But you are saying that we are borrowing much more. We have been paying much more taxes since 2018. And now persons are asked now to pay money in advance. This advance payment is not only for corporation tax. No, listen carefully. They've been offering rebates for land tax. They've been offering rebates for every single tax that that comes into them, they'll be trying to get you to pay as early as possible. What should I say? They'll be trying to give discounts and trying to get this money in. They just want to get this money into their accounts. I don't know. I mean, what did the Prime Minister say? She want the money. They want the money.
Yes,
They
want money.
to get
They
the money.
want money.
They're just trying to get the money.
Before it was a tint, and now it's the small businesses that really hold up this country, and now we're a lot of little, black people trying to make ends meet, send their children to school, and so on. Yep. And now they've put that on your back is another burden on our backs. It's really not funny.
I'm looking here at the Central Bank report as well, and based on this, it looks as though personal taxes that individuals pay, like for work, and corporation tax combined could be in the region of maybe $1.4 billion by the end of March.
March 31st,
This is 1 year. This is the commitment. This is part of money that we are putting at the disposal. That does not include the VAT that we contribute to.
Wow.
Which is well over $1 billion. Right? I'm thinking there's a significant amount of money that is being raked from taxpayers, individuals, right?
This is not personal taxes you're talking, income tax. Folks, listen up. And this is why I've been saying to them, saying to all of us that it is so important to have a healthy opposition, that it is important for us to have political participation, because when we have that strong opposition, we have that political participation. That is how we deal with issues of corruption or any, these kinds of things. Can you imagine, Senator, if we had even another 6 more of Ralph Thorne in the parliament? Let me tell you, they would roll over in there. And
they wouldn't show up. They wouldn't show up.
And listen, and when you and Senator Warren get away with them in the Senate, can you imagine if we had a couple more of you inside there?
We wish we had more time, because like in the Senate, we have one of us has an hour to respond on the bill, and then the other person has 30 minutes. As it is not enough time sometimes to really explain to Barbados or to share with the chamber, the independent senators, and to refute a lot of what is being said, because it comes so fast. But those are the rules, and they'll be rules forever. So it's not, but I'm saying that, so we have to use forums like this to kind of explain and kind of share.
And you are doing a great job.
Realities out there.
Yeah, and thank you. I mean, somebody just reminded me about the petrol price, and I thank you. This is why, again, I'm sorry, I have to put a plug for the opposition. I have to put a plug. Yes, they call me and they label me senator, that I'm DLP, and they label what, truthfully, my heart is about all of us standing like Dunksman. Look how they got that pothole fixed.
Yes.
Right. Dunksman basically you did it in the Senate, and he used his social media and did it. Right. Now, what I'm saying is that you pushed and you used social media too and informed the people about the petrol prices. And look, they brought it down, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And I'm waiting to see when they can bring it down again. So normally the first Sunday of every month, we will get an adjustment. If the price goes down, we get a price reduction. If it goes up a little bit, we pay a little more. But generally, the prices have been flat or going down. So I will track again, and I will share with you, Marcia.
Yeah, sure.
But we'll keep an eye on it. We are not lost on it. Trust me, we're not lost on it. The fuel tax is what your viewer referred to. She was talking about the fuel tax, and the fuel tax has rating. Like my numbers. Huh?
Yes, I know. I love it. I love it. We will wait on you. Guys, please share the live.
Yes, $76.8 million in the last financial year.
On the fuel tax.
On the fuel tax alone. On the fuel tax alone. Right? So you can expect anything above that this year. Right? At the end of this year. So VAT is rating, over $1 billion last year. And again, you could expect these numbers to increase this year. So this is the Bajans going into these shops, these businesses, these supermarkets, and buying goods. When this government came to office, they wrote off hundreds of millions of dollars of VAT that was owed.
Yes, it's true.
That we paid in, and they said, hey, no, we can write this off. And so instead of putting payment plans in place, instead of saying, look, we need this money, you owe it to us, persons come in and they pay their VAT, put a payment plan, even take off the interest or whatever, leave the principal. But you should try to recoup what is due from the government.
Correct, yeah.
The same way how you turn off somebody's water connection when the bill is in arrears. You find and put them in a payment plan. You put these businesses in a payment plan. You remove the NSRL, and you lost significant amount of revenue from the NSRL. And again, I want viewers to understand what I'm saying. The NSRL was initially designed to raise revenue for the government because at that time, there was a challenge with the same businesses paying over VAT. Some businesses paying over VAT, It was a cash crunch in that time. However, the removal of the NSRL, the Prime Minister said that the NSRL inflated the price of goods in the supermarket.
Yes.
When the NSRL was removed, they promised that within 3 to 6 months, they would have seen a reduction in the prices in the supermarket. We saw no reduction.
Correct. You are correct. I was waiting on you to say that.
Correct. We saw no reduction, but the taxpayers now have lost money because now the hundreds of millions of dollars that was being collected was was discontinued, and we had to foot that bill because the government needs money.
Yes.
So then you get sewage tax, this tax, this band, this room shared accommodation levy, all the different things that they implemented to accommodate for losing that when they know full well prices in Barbados do not come down. It was not a good way to get prices to come down. Right? But we lost a lot. So the burden comes back on us, the taxpayers, who have to fill this $1 billion deficit. I said we fill it by borrowing. Who pays the debt? Taxpayers. By new taxes. Who pays new taxes? Taxpayers. We are responsible for the budget, for paying the budget. We are responsible for the collection of revenue. It is because of us that go into the store.
Correct.
Not only that set up businesses, but that work and that go into these businesses that the economy is able to function and the government is able to earn revenue. They need to treat the people of Barbados better. They need to do that.
Especially since we're the most taxed. I mean, when we have so many taxes, different types of taxes. I was here trying to find the list.
I don't have it here either, but trust me.
It's just, I mean, and the most taxed, they have taxed the people the most ever. And yet still, I mean, this is what they're doing to small businesses to crush them. By the time they are finished, I saw this thing that they're doing about a rage room. Something they do in the US. If you have anger, you go in a room and you break up things and you mash up the place. And so, I said to myself the same. I said, it seems like our prime minister have been in a rage room. And it's a country that's in there that she's beating up and thumping down and kicking down. It's like she's so angry. I don't know what it is. If we feel like she's beating us up, that's how I'm sure these small businesses feel like she's beating us up.
It is true. And since 2022 election, when the Prime Minister reviewed her new cabinet, there was no Ministry of Small Business and Entrepreneurship. That was the first signal that small business does not matter to this government. Since 2022, we had examples pre 2022 when the then Minister Dwight Sutherland, even during COVID, targeted small businesses.
I remember.
Right? And he even targeted the reconditioned vehicle guys that import
Yes.
all of the small business. It's just a target on the small man who's to pay the most taxes, the overburden with taxes, a high cost of living that they see here a person has. Well, when the person that can afford to do it, can afford to pay their taxes, consistently are getting eased. We're in Parliament all the time. As recent as I saw a bill that is coming soon to give these tax breaks and these concessions to these businesses.
Right.
But
To the big businesses.
The big businesses,
Squeezing the small businesses.
I have, for the last year, February 13th will be a year. For the last year, I have never had to respond to a bill that gave a small business a concession.
Wow. Let us stop and let that sink in, Barbados. Let it sink in. This is from this government and this party that says that they care. Did you hear what Senator Ryan repeat what you just said?
For the last year, February 13th will be a year since I've been called to the Senate. I have not had to respond to a bill or amendment that has given small businesses a concession. Because for the government, they focus on foreign direct investment and they're focused on big businesses. Foreign direct investment is nothing that the country should encourage. Foreign direct investment. That's how we get our US dollars, etc. But it's because of the policies of the government that they have to rely heavily on these things, right? Because when you come in and you write off local debt, disadvantaged pensioners, disadvantaged credit union account holders, and then you seek your borrowing from outside of Barbados, you have to pay back in US dollars.
Right.
Right. So their policies is what have them in this chokehold. Deficits of close to $1 billion and the need now for foreign exchange. And I want to support that foreign exchange. Let me find it, Marcia.
Yes. While you're finding it, guys, please share and like. Just after another 5 minutes, we're going to go into our next segment where we're going to look at the Warren Motley case with Dr. Griffith. Okay, so we're going to go through that step by step just in 5 minutes. So please, guys, please share, like, and subscribe. Thank you.
Yes. So in 2018, 2019, and if you notice, I am not, and I'm doing so purposely, right? I'm not going back to the previous administration because this is bigger than politics. This is bad policy. Right? In 2018, 2019, the external debt was $3.2 billion.
Was 2 point how much? Ooh, can you guys hear me? Or is Ryan stuck? Am I the one stuck? Good night. Hello. Ooh, is Ryan stuck? Can you hear me? Ramim, Sharon, can you guys hear me? I think Ryan might be stuck. Or is it me? Oh, he's stuck. Okay. Okay. All right. So let me send him a message and see if he can probably leave and come back. My God, he's doing such an amazing job in educating us. Aren't you enjoying this, guys? You know, it's making sense. If somebody can call him for me, Ryan Walters, if you know, if someone please call him, ask him to leave and come again. Yes. I think this is a lot of education that is happening here. And this is why we listen and you learn and you understand what is going on in the country, what is happening, all of these taxes. and we're not having anything to show for him. Okay, he's right here, back again.
Yes.
All right.
Sorry
I
about
know
that.
it's the Wi-Fi. So we have another 5 minutes, Senator
Yes.
Walters. Yes.
Yeah, I'll wrap up. I was just making the point that they moved from $3.2 billion in 2018, 2019 to December, based on the Central Bank report, it is $5.5 billion. This is foreign debt.
Right.
Foreign, meaning external debt, meaning it's from a foreign person outside of Barbados, and it has to be paid back in US dollars. So the policies is what is driving these decisions, right? And it's bad policy, so you result in bad decisions that have to be inflicted on the taxpayers of this country, right? And then you have to then take all these fanciful concessions and things to invite people to come to Barbados. So no longer are you inviting people to come because we have low crime, because we do not. We now have high crime. Because we have an environment that is conducive for good work and all that. The real selling points of why people used to come to Barbados are fast dwindling. It is now about how much concessions you can get, how much you don't have to pay for. Come and set it for free and bring your money. Right? So that is what's happening here as relates to some of the decisions that the government is making.
And so then you're reaping the benefits. You're reaping because of those policies.
Correct.
See, you're not getting as much revenue as you need to get. So we need to. I know you're normally very busy, but I love these sessions. I love them because it's numbers, and we can, it'd be so good, that if we can put it up on the screen and people can see it. So we'll talk and
okay, we'll talk for sure.
Thank you so very much. Is there anything that you want to say finally to the viewers, Senator?
No, just again, thanks. I just want to continue to encourage everybody to continue supporting the show. It's a very important show. It gives a lot of persons the opportunity to learn new things and to be aware. I know about your fear, Marcia. You give Jack the jacket when Jack has to get the jacket, and you allow other persons to have access to your forum. So I just want to encourage people to continue to support the show and to support the Democratic Labour Party as well.
you had to stick that in there, right?
Of course, yes.
And to let the people cuss me, they will not see when everybody else come on, the other parties come on. I've invited BLP. Believe me, they don't even. They tell me they always know, but they can't come, or they don't answer, or they're very busy. They tell me, but then they curse me and say I'm DLP, and I invite all the third parties, and only a few come. But anyway, thank you for coming. All right.
Thank you, and good night. Good night to everyone.
Good night. Very good job. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Wow. I thought that was very educational, very informative. And that's what, we have the time on the show, and we need to keep doing this, breaking it down, the dollars and the cents. And that's what it is all about. Now, guys, I need you to share. If you have not shared, I need you to share. We're going to take the remainder of this show, and we are going to, together as a whole, we're going to discuss this situation, this case, okay? Now, you know that I'm not a lawyer. Yes, you know that. I'm an artist. Did my accounting, but I'm primarily an artist. And so I'm not here to make any legal pronouncements. I'm not here to determine who is guilty and who is not guilty. That's not my role here. I'm just asking questions. I've done some research, and I have questions, and I know that a lot of people in Barbados, they have questions as well. And so tonight, what I'm going to try to do is to do a summary of the entire of the case from it started up until now. I spent hours between yesterday and today, just reading through everything that I found on the internet. What I'm going to share with you, it's nothing that would be new. It's just that we're putting it all in one place. It's everything that has been reported on in the newspaper, right? That is on online. It's all online, and so we are putting it in one place, and we're analyzing it. And I want us to do it together tonight because, as I said, I am not a lawyer. This is not my area, and I'm not here to pronounce a verdict or a judgment or whatever the terminology is. All right, I'm not here to do any such thing. But you know, if something is bothering us, you know, we need to take time and to look at it. Okay, it's very it's a special case. It's a very prominent, because it involves prominent people. So if I could get the PowerPoint, and we're going to go right in at this time. All right, but in the meantime, please go ahead and share. All right, like and share. Like and share, like and share, like and share. Thank you all so much for joining. As we're getting that presentation up, I want to remind you about Amaya, and to let you know, remind you that her father is a match, but they're also looking for a backup. All right, and you would have gotten a lot of those details with Dr. Ferdinand, and so they might make a public appeal. So we're going to keep you informed. But the hospital basically has accepted, the Colombian hospital has accepted Amaya, and so we're getting ready. So that's the public update, and we're getting ready. But if we could just go right into the PowerPoint on Warren Motley and Dr. SAHLE Griffith. Am I saying that correctly? I'm always with the name, but I just say Dr. Griffith because I've never met, just so you know, I've never met this gentleman, okay? I've never met the doctor, never been to his office, not related. Because you know how it is, somebody's going to say it's my second cousin, and that's why I'm speaking about it, you know, or whatever. No. Okay. All right. Okay. So this is a summary inclusive of questions and concerns. Okay. So if we could go to the next slide, please. Now, we're going to give a brief background on Warren Motley. We all know he is a dear brother of Prime Minister Mia Motley. And again, we've done it on the show before, but again, we want to say condolences. Someone has died, and, someone's family. And, you know, there's a lot of pain involved in something like that. So I just want to take this opportunity to say that we do grieve with the family because they've lost their loved one, and it wasn't like a long sickness. It appeared not. So we want to say that we send our compassion, give compassion to the family, and as we even speak about it and write about it, let's be careful of how we present what we're presenting, because someone had a loss, right? Yes. So he passed away sadly on June 29, 2021 at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. The death was followed a routine colonoscopy at Surgical Solutions Inc. Okay? So that's the introduction to the case. The next slide. The overview of the legal developments. Let's look at that. The coroner's ruling of negligence was in 2022. Then Dr. Griffiths attempted a judicial review, right? Recent High Court decision by Justice Patrick Wells dismissing the claim, all right? So that's the recent High Court decision, which is what has brought us here once again, because we've done this on the show before, not at this level, but it's now brought us to have this discussion because Justice Patrick Wells dismissed the claim. Okay. The next slide. Let's look at the background and some key events. The inquest and coroner's ruling. was conducted by Coroner Graveney Bannister. And he determined that Dr. Griffith and another doctor were negligent. According to the coroner, the conduct described was so bad it would be criminal. This is what the coroner stated, right? According to the newspaper article. And so to the next slide. Next slide. Okay, I think we're having a. Okay, so continuing with the background and key events, the Dr. Griffith's judicial review attempt, they sought to overturn the coroner's verdict. So that would be what the judicial review attempt was, to overturn the coroner's verdict, right? They argued jurisdictional overreach, unfair verdict, and violation of constitutional rights, right? The High Court ruling and its implications. Justice Patrick Wells' judgment in 2024 that occurred a couple of days ago upheld the coroner's decision, refused to interfere with the inquest findings, declared courts must not abuse authority in meritless claims. This is the ruling of the of Justice Patrick Wells. That was his judgment. Key orders from the ruling. Dismissal. There's a dismissal of Dr. Griffith's judicial review. Remember, Dr. Griffith was reviewing the coroner's report, right? Coroner's inquest and verdict remain undisturbed. The costs awarded to the respondent. Okay, so these are the key orders from the ruling. Response from Dr. Griffith's legal team. What was the response? An appeal, that they're going to make an appeal to the Court of Appeal. Moments after the ruling, Attorney Hal Gollop stated, the decision is against the grain of both local and English authorities, and they will seek a ruling from the Court of Appeal. Right? Am I going too fast? Let me know. Let me know if I'm going too fast. Again, we're continuing. Response from Dr. Griffith's legal team. Recusal request for Justice Wells. Lead attorney Ralph Thorne revealed that they had asked Justice Wells to recuse himself. All of this, right, we got from the internet. Justice Wells refused, citing lack of evidence and no indication of bias. Now, I want you to remember this particular point. We're going to get back to this recusing of this Justice Wells. Okay, so Justice Wells refused, citing lack of evidence and no indication of bias. Thorne's team will take this matter to the Court of Appeal. All right. So that's a response, part of the response from Dr. Griffith's legal team. Continuing. Now, during the whole thing, okay, during just before, but no, so we know heard the verdict yesterday, but it's important that interim injunction was granted by the High Court. Justice Barry Carrington granted an interim injunction in favor of Dr. Griffith. All right, so just, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. And this injunction prevents authorities from charging him criminally for Motley's death at this time, or at that time, right? At this time. Dr. Griffith's legal team argued that an arrest would cause irreparable harm to his career and reputation. The state attorneys opposed, but the court ruled in Griffith's favor. So this is while this happened before the Justice Wells judgment. Okay, that an interim injunction was sought by Griffith's legal team, and the court ruled in their favor. That was under Justice Barry Carrington, which is a different judge. But we're going to get into the story of the judges. So we're gonna get there, okay? But I want you to hold this piece of information, folks. Like VO is saying, please like and share. It's important that we we understand what is happening, because this is occurring with Dr. Griffith. This time, around, you know, we never know, just so we understand what's going on, really, because you know, get the facts, or the facts as per the internet, okay? The facts as per the internet. The next slide, please. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide. Now, there is a medical controversy within this whole thing. Okay, some people say it's medical controversy, but this is what the testimony of Dr. Griffith. He stated in the number 10 Supreme Court that mesenteric ischemia, I hope I said mesenteric correctly, ischemia, which is a small bowel ischemia, caused Motley's death. This is what Dr. Griffith is stating in his testimony. He claimed it was an extremely rare condition, never encountered in his 22-year career. He explained that small bowel ischemia results from blood clots, cutting off blood supply. Now, have we been talking about blood clots a lot? That's as much as I can say about that. If we put it all together, we're talking about the injections, and you know, we've known quite a number of people, but that's as much as I'd say about that. But as I read it, to be honest, that's what came to my mind. So I just honestly said it. Okay. Now we must remember that Dr. Griffith was the head of surgery at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And I don't know if he still is. I didn't get to find that out. Somebody can message me and let me know if he still is the head of surgery at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. He linked Motley's condition to the COVID-19 injections. Yes? Folks, we need to like and share, like and share, like and share, like and share, guys. Come on, keep pushing this. Push it, push it. Dr. Griffith referenced WHO medical studies linking mesenteric ischemia to some COVID-19 injections. Now, I did my own research, and I saw on various sites, medical journals, where there's a link. But I am not a lawyer and I'm not a doctor. So I leave that to Dr. Griffith and to the lawyers. But I am going to be nosy and want to know myself, you know, could this really happen? And I remember, if some of you remembered, we were looking at this case a long time ago when it occurred. And what we did, we brought in a doctor who testified before Congress, right? In the US. And he said, and I'm trying to remember his name now. Some of you might remember his name. And he did say that this is a possibility. Obviously, he did not examine Mr. Motley, but he was just saying that this is they're seeing this is happening because, according to the doctor, due to blood clots. Okay, so anyway, Dr. Griffith, let's go back to this that other slide. Yes, thank you. Dr. Griffith referenced WHO medical studies linking mesenteric ischemia to some COVID-19 injections, noted that other potential causes could include drugs, or toxins. So if there were drugs in the body or toxins, I'm not sure if that means if he was taking drugs or well, it could be prescribed or unprescribed drugs or toxins is what it says. Okay. All right. So the next slide, while we like and share. General questions and concerns with the case. So these are some general questions. Having gone through the information that I've seen and listened to other people, commentary on it, spoken to several people, we all have, there's some concerns that we have as we go through and you can list your concerns, right? Right? Okay, somebody's saying that their niece died from the same blood clot. Okay, wow. Okay. Now, let us look at some of the general concerns. Now, Justice Shona Griffith. Who is Justice Shona Griffith? Justice Shona Griffith was the first judge on this case. If you've been following the case, you would remember this. Justice Shona Griffith was the first judge on this case, and I find that I have some questions that concerns, what happened to her, okay, or her. Let me say what happened to her. Justice Griffith recused herself from the case shortly before the trial. So she was preparing months, right? This is months she was preparing for the trial, right? She would have done all of the case management work. She's ready for the trial. She's at the threshold for the trial. It's a key question. Was she asked to recuse herself, or did she just choose to do so? What were the grounds for her recusal? In a public newspaper article, Justice Griffith stated she recused herself. However, if you check that article, which was the Daily Nation, November 28, 2023, she says, I have taken the decision, or the decision has been made that I'm unable to take the case further. So for me as a lay person, I am trying to understand, on what grounds, if she's saying it would appear that she doesn't even know why she's recused, but I thought you recuse yourself. You understand what I'm saying? She's not his sister. There are lots of people in Barbados with the name Griffith. She's not his sister. That is not correct. She's not his sister. Please don't. They have the same last name, but she's not his sister. Okay. What does this recusal mean for the integrity and impartiality of the case moving forward? Those are the questions that I have and other people have. It's just questions. I don't know what the answers are, but when I read it, I remember reading that, and I read it over and over. And Caswell and myself, we were talking about that. And he even pointed out to me, and we were looking at it and said, she says that I have taken this decision, or the decision has been made. Who made the decision that I'm unable to take the case further? Right, she's not right. As far as I know, she's not even Barbadian. She thinks she came from I'm not sure if it's Bahamas, and then came here. So, right? So that's one thing. I want you to hold that in your head, okay? So she would have done all of this work. Remember now, right? And then just as the case was going to trial, right? The lawyers on the other side, they said that they made a request. Just a thought. All right, let's go to the next slide. Now, remember I told you there's a story of judges? Guess what? Because she recused herself, obviously another judge had to come on board, right? Yeah, had to move the case forward. So Justice Barry Carrington's involvement. So this is him now. Justin Carrington, who initially granted the interim injunction preventing Dr. Griffith's criminal prosecution, remember that when we mentioned that earlier, had no further part in the case after this decision. I'm going to pause there and think, because when I saw that, I'm like, I don't know. Am I reading too much into it? I don't know. I'm just asking a question. I don't know. I don't know law, and I'm no doctor. But Justin Carrington, who initially granted the interim injunction preventing Dr. Griffith's criminal prosecution, had no further part in the case after his decision. This is after they had, days of rigorous. The lawyers, the government lawyers, they resisted this for 2 days. Resisted this injunction. So my question is, why is Justin Carrington no longer involved? Was his involvement limited to the interim injunction, or is there another reason he stepped away from the case? I didn't see anything online. That's why I'm asking the question. Does his departure raise questions about judicial consistency or fairness in this high-profile case? I don't know. I don't know. Then, judge number 3. So we had judge number 1 recuse herself, or she said she called what the paper reported that she said. Okay, I have to be careful. I'm dealing with lawyers and judges here. So the paper, November 28, 2023, reported that she said, I have taken decision, or the decision has been made. Okay, now here it is. The next judge was on the case, Barrington, and Barry Carrington. What am I saying? Barry Carrington, Justice Barry Carrington, and he granted the injunction, but then I'm saying he disappeared because I don't know what happened, right? Okay. Then Justice Patrick Wells come on the scene. Justice Wells was recently appointed as a judge. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that it's about a year now. I need to look carefully at the when the appointment occurred, and it was posted on Instagram and carried in the Nation and Barbados Today. Now, when they interviewed Justice Patrick Wells, who I looked at his bio, and he seemed very capable man, well learned. He expressed gratitude for his appointment in a public newspaper article, and he mentioned Prime Minister Mia Mottley. Now, I will tell you that I got a call from an attorney in Jamaica who said to me, Marcia, did you see the newspaper? Do you have a new judge? And the judge is Jamaican. So it's my fellow Jamaican. I know he's bright. My fellow Jamaican, Justice Patrick Wells. And she noted it, and she sent it to me, and she said, but it's interesting, but he mentioned the Prime Minister. Is that supposed to happen? Do you guys do that in your country? Just felt that it was, but again, did he actually do it, or was it how the newspaper reported it? But if you look in the newspaper, just do a search, you will see that there's mention of Prime Minister Mia Mottley. This is a new judge. This is the judge that made the judgment a couple of days ago. Later, Justice Wells was appointed to handle the Warren Motley case after he was appointed. Is this cause for concern? Some people have raised concerns about the potential or perceived. It could be because of the name, but we don't know what he meant. When he mentioned her name, what did he actually mean? We don't know what he means, what he meant by it. but it raised a red flag. And it could be the way the reporter reported it. But the point is that as thanks were being shared out, the gratitude was being given. Right? So, yeah. So, does this public gratitude of the Prime Minister raise questions about impartiality? It could be the way the reporter wrote the article. But it would be for Justice Patrick Wells, I guess, to probably, if something was wrong the way it was written, to clarify that. Okay, probably. Some people have raised concerns about it as far away as Jamaica, not even about this case. They were just asking. All right. Our next slide. The next concern that we have here is about the coroner. Now, when you have some time, do Google the role of the coroner or the duties of the coroner. Just Google it. And when you Google it, I did that today. And I was completely shocked. Because I told you, I don't know nothing about no law. Woo, my earring fall off. I don't know anything about law, right? I don't know a thing about law. And so I had to go and Google it myself because I was reading that the coroner made certain judgments and so on. And so therefore I went to look up the role of the coroner, what who is a coroner, what they do and what they do. I knew who was a coroner, but like what they do and what's the authority that they have, right? And according to Barbados Today, Coroner Graveney Bannister found the doctors criminally negligent and said their conduct was so bad in all the circumstances that it amounted to a criminal act. This is coming from Barbados Today. Is this what the coroner said? Because the coroner's role is typically to determine the identity. This is according to Google. You hear? Not Google. The coroner's role is typically to determine the identity, cause, and circumstances of death, not to assign blame or criminal liability. Research shows that coroners investigate deaths to determine the medical cause, not to lay blame. So that's why I was shocked, because the Barbados Today must have gotten it wrong, because the coroner, according to Barbados Today, not me, the coroner said Graveney Bannister found the doctors criminally negligent and said their conduct was, according to them, was so bad in all circumstances that it amounted to a criminal act. But according to Google, I'm the Google lawyer. The coroner's role is typically to determine the identity, cause, and circumstances of death, not to assign blame or criminal liability. Researchers shows that coroners investigate deaths to determine the medical cause, not to lay blame. Why did the coroner appear to assign blame? Why the blame? Why did the coroner make statements suggesting criminal conduct by the doctors? Why was this reported in the media as a criminal act if the coroner's role is not typically to assign blame? I don't understand. This seems to be a departure from the expected role of a coroner. What does this mean for the case? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. No, it didn't say it could be. It said it would be. I went back and checked based on the article and said would be. So you could look at it. But you might be right. But I went and checked and said, wonder if he said could, and I saw that he said would. W. All right. So let's go to the next one. Okay. Right. The next one, please. Okay, let's go to the next slide. A next concern that for this case, questions and concerns with the case. Justice Patrick Wells and conflicting cases involving Dr. Griffith. This is something that I didn't know, right? Oh, I'm reading this comment here. At the time of the publication of coroner's finding and comment, a friend overseas raised the same kind of concern about the role of the coroner. Yeah, but you know, these are legal things. I don't understand them, but yeah. Anyway, moving along. Conflict of interest. No, I didn't realize this until last night. Justice Patrick Wells and conflicting cases involving Dr. Griffith. That is a topic that we're going to look at. Conflict of interest. Judge Patrick Wells is presiding over two cases concerning Dr. Griffith that can be conflicting, and depending on how if you think, you can determine if you think it's conflicting. Because remember, I ain't no lawyer. The first case, Dr. Griffith is suing the coroner for allegedly assigning blame and criminal action to him. So that's the first case. So there are two cases. The second case, viewers, is the Motley family is suing Dr. Griffith for personal negligence relating to Warren Motley's death. So there are two cases. But guess what? Guess what, folks? Justice Wells is presiding over the two cases. Pause. That's right there. Look at what the first case is and the second case. If you were in Dr. Griffith's position, would you want it that way? Do you think that would be fair to you? I would like to know from a lawyer if this is a normal thing that happens. I, as a layperson, would not like this. I would not like it. As a layperson, as somebody, if it was me, and you know, I would not like that they are conflicting cases. Why I don't know. I would not like it. But I said, if there's a lawyer on here and they can explain to me, probably this is normal. I don't know. I'm just saying I don't like it. Key question: why did Justice Wells not recuse himself from presiding over both cases? If you know, why not? I don't understand. To me, you know, potential impact. And so, actually, remember I told you that the lawyers in the case, that they actually had requested that Justice Wells, Patrick Wells, recuse himself from the case. You remember? Yeah. Okay. So I know people. I know they come on to watch and to quarrel. I'm asking questions and concerns, and they're taking notes. You can do whatever, they could do what they want to do. That's okay. Now, the lawyers in the case, based on what again, it's online. You could see it in the newspaper. Requested for Justice Patrick Wells to recuse himself from the case. And he said, nah, I ain't doing it. Okay. So the question is, will there be any potential impact to Dr. Griffith? Will Judge Patrick Wells presiding over both of these conflicting cases hurt or benefit Dr. Griffith? The outcome remains uncertain. Yeah? Public perception. Is there a potential risk of bias? Or does this create a situation where the judicial system could be seen as overreaching? There are concerns about judicial impartiality. Is it appropriate for one judge to oversee both sides of a case involving Dr. Griffith, especially with conflicting interests? I don't know. That one, for me, a lawyer will have to explain that to me if that is okay. Right? But I, I would, if I were in Dr. Griffith's position, I would not be comfortable with that. Right? I would not be comfortable. But the good judge, very well learned, qualified judge, Dr. Patrick Wells, from Jamaica, he is saying, no, he's not recusing himself. But don't forget that the judge, the first judge, remember the first judge, Justice Griffith, that she said, I have taken the decision to recuse herself, or the decision was taken for her. She recused herself, but this one said no. And according to Barbados today, she said the decision has been made for her. Interesting. Let's look at if we have any other. Let's look at the next slide. I want to talk about Dr. Griffith. Who is Dr. Griffith? Any patients out there for Dr. Griffith? Anybody out there? And again, as we wait, if you were a patient of Dr. Griffith, you can put comment. Yes, I see one yes there. Been doing my research on him. As I said, I do not know him, and I've never seen the man in my life. I saw a picture of the man yesterday. I don't know him, never met him. But who is Dr. Griffith? Specialization: general, advanced, laparoscopic, and bariatric surgeon. Bariatric surgeon. Don't laugh at me. All these medical terms, right? Training: Center for the Advancement of Minimal Invasive Surgery in Alberta. He was trained at the University of the West Indies. That's where he did his basic training. He was trained at the Imperial College in London. Okay. And next, somebody's saying here he used to do sessions on CBC. Really? I don't know of that. Okay. Okay. Education: basic medical education at UWI Mona campus, 1995 to 2000. And as I was reading this, I remember my brother, who is a doctor, actually sent him a little messages today, because I just put I just thought of my own brother, because these things happen, and I just thought of my own young brother. I'm wondering, I have to check if they know each other at Mona when they were there. Internship at Cornwall Regional Hospital in Jamaica. Training in ear, nose, and throat surgery, followed by general surgical program, 2004 to 2009. Honorary clinic fellow at Imperial College London, based at St. Mary's Hospital and Ealing Hospital. Those of you in the UK, you know these places. He has a diploma in that word again, laparoscopic surgery at the University of Strasbourg. Elective training in Spain under renowned laparoscopic I think I got it this time. Surgeons at hospital in the San Paul, Barcelona University. Oh my goodness, this man has studied all over Madrid, all over. Wow, very well learned. Somebody here is saying Dr. Griffith is an excellent doctor and he's the head surgeon at the QH. So he's still the head surgeon at the QH. Somebody says his qualifications are beyond reproach. I can't. Okay. Okay. Somebody saying he's one of the best in his practice and has been recognized worldwide for his skill set. Barbados needs a man like him. Now, what I was told was that, how is my time? What I was told was that when I was inquiring about him, is that he was doing very well where he was overseas. I believe he was in the UK and decided that, he wanted to serve his country. And everybody told him, why are you going home? It's like that. Did they have foreknowledge? They were asking him, you are doing so well. Why are you going home? And he came to Barbados because he wanted to serve. He wanted to serve his country. Wow. Somebody say he has great bedside manners. Well, you have to tell me. I don't know him. Used to be on TV. Wow. He's one of the best. And as he recognized worldwide for his skill set. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Okay, he told you the same thing that he wanted to. Okay, so Dale, you know him personally. Okay. All right, let's continue. Who is Dr. Griffith? That's member of the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh. If you please, this is a son of the soil. Where did he go to school? I didn't see where he went to school and where he lived and where he grew up in Barbados. Clinical fellowship in advance, that word laparoscopic and bariatric surgery at the Center for the Advancement of Minimally Invasive Surgery. Fellowship accredited by the American Society of Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery. He's practicing in Barbados since September 2011. He came home. Medical director at Surgical Solutions since 2011. Consultant, minimal invasive surgeon at the QEH since 2014. And he's an associate lecturer in general surgery at UWI campus. Wow. Leadership roles. Appointed head of the Department of Surgery at the QEH, August 2020. Director of the Caribbean Colon Cancer Initiative, focusing on colorectal cancer in persons of African descent. Important role. Advocates for surgical trainees through research, missions, and skill advancement. Good. You know, I'm reading this and I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, it's really, I mean, this is really amazing, very amazing. Anyway, somebody writes here. Okay, that he's a good and very caring and honest person. But I mean, do you agree that I think that it is only fair, though, that the families seek to find out exactly what happened to their brother, their son. That's normal and it should happen, don't you think? I think that they're within their right to do that. The family is. Yeah. I think on the website, I don't know if Dave has that yet. But on the website there are some videos, and I watched them today, and I thought that I wanted to share them with you as well. Bear with me. Obviously, I am just knowing about this doctor. So yeah. So let's play some of the videos. Thank you so much, Dave, who is doing a fantastic job. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rosalind Carrington and I'm 53. Last year I had abdominal pain, and when I had it checked out, realized I had it in large spleen. I did a lot of tests and had a low white blood count, and they decided that they could find no reason for the spleen to be enlarged, so it had to come out. So we had to find a surgeon that could do laparoscopic surgery. I needed not to be exposed to a lot of infection. So I met with Dr. Griffith in January, and in a matter of 3 weeks, I had the surgery. Everything went smoothly. There was a little pain after surgery, but that's normal. By 3 or 4 hours later after surgery, I was up and walking around. My aftercare was great. Dr. Griffith visited me in hospital several times, and then I had my follow-ups at the office. The staff there were really helpful, really good. I'd really recommend him to anybody for laparoscopic surgery. It's fast, it's easy, and the sick leave time is so short. Everything was really great.
I'm Jeffrey Brown. I'm 68 years old. I'm a pharmacist by profession. Having encountered pains for 12 years from incisional hernias, I was introduced to Dr. SAHLE Griffith. I went, made the appointment, and Dr. Griffith set the date for the operation, which he said was doable. It was perfect care from Dr. Griffith and his team, and
Okay, guys, we're going to fix that for you. Thank you for alerting us that there's no audio. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We're live, and these things happen on live TV. So let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Judith? Yes, you can hear me. So we're going to replay the last 2 videos for you. Okay, just hang on. We're working on it. All right. I have one of the there is an actual person an actual patient that I'm going to ask her to click on the link and to come on at this time. Okay. Yes, click on the link and come on at this time, please. Go ahead, Dave. Thank you.
I'm Jeffrey Brown. I'm 68 years old. I'm a pharmacist by profession. Having encountered pains for 12 years from incisional hernias, I was introduced to Dr. SAHLE Griffith. I went, made the appointment, and Dr. Griffith set the date for the operation, which he said was doable. It was perfect care from Dr. Griffith and his team, and on the Saturday, 3 days after I was discharged, the office and his team kept in constant contact with me, and I would say if I have to recommend anyone for operation, check Surgical Solutions and Dr. SAHLE GRIFFITH and his team.
My name is Ethelinda Boyner. My age is 79. Last year, in June, I saw a problem. I went to my medical doctor. She told me I have to get a test done. I get a test done. When I went back to her, she told me I have to get a surgeon. I was recommended to see Dr. Griffith at Surgical Solution in Mall. I went positive with them. I had the surgery. I spent 3 days in the hospital and then I went home. The team was good, especially Nurse Clark. I would recommend any boy to him.
Yes, folks, I think that's it. Right, we had 3 of them. Now, while we wait on, I see someone is coming on. Device is not connected, so you have to connect your Judith Ann. You have to connect your devices. Yes, I want to say that I want us to think about this. Do you remember when Caswell, the last time I think Caswell was on, or the time before that, he spoke of a young lady that was operated on at the QEH, and it's alleged that her they took out her womb. You remember that? And it was a mistake. They made a mistake and took out her womb. In fact, they left a piece of equipment somewhere inside the woman. And Caswell was dealing with the case and so on, and she was off from work, and they want to know fire her, or dismiss her, all of these kinds of things. And she has not, her case is nowhere near court. I've spoken to the woman. She can't get a day in court because based on what has happened to her, the other doctors have said have happened to her. I have had people message me that their grandchild born deformed because of what happened at the hospital, according to these people. I've heard from where I sit so many cases where some issue, some medical issue occurred, and sometimes these cases take years, 20 years. I know somebody who some issue with her foot, and that's going on now, I'm sure, over 10, 12 years. But the question is, how do you fast track a case? How did this case get here this quickly? In my counting, it seemed like it's about 2.5, 3 years. How did this case, I don't understand. How did this case, we have such a backlog of cases in our courts. We have to ask the question, how are cases assigned or fast-tracked? Huh? Oh, that's what we're saying. How do we, I just don't understand it. How is it fast-tracked? How are cases assigned when we are told there are a backlog of cases? I saw, I wrote that down, but I didn't remember how many cases, although those are criminal cases. Well, I mean, this they wanted this to be one, but the backlog of cases is just ridiculous. Anybody saw in the paper the backlog of cases? How did this happen when there are people that have cases, like regular people like you and I? I don't understand how cases are assigned, or how do they get fast tracked? On what's the, anybody knows about that? While we think about that, let me talk to Miss Judith Ann Clark. Good night, ma'am. How are you?
Hello, good night, Marcia. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear,
Good.
and it's such a joy to
Ex-
hear your voice.
Excellent, thank you. Well, good night to you. Blessings to you, your panelists, and the loyal opposition viewers. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you tonight during this segment.
Yes,
I just want to say, yes, I just want to take this opportunity to share a few heartfelt comments about Dr. Staley Griffith. Now, I've known Dr. Griffith over 10 years. I took my father to him back then. I took my father to him back then, over 10 years ago. He diagnosed and worked with my father's condition. I was very, very impressed with the care that was given. Subsequent to that, in more recent times, I became his patient after experiencing adverse effects from the injection. His medical skills, his interpersonal skills, and his patient care are second to none. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. Um, I've never had any reason to doubt his medical acumen, and I would undoubtedly recommend him to anyone that I know that requires, needs his services. I don't, there's not much that I can say, but Dr. Griffin is a very good human being, excellent doctor, and you read his bio, you read his training and stuff like that. And all I can say, this whole situation is very, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate.
yes,
And it is near and dear to my heart. It
yes.
certainly is.
Well, we keep praying for him and praying for the family as well, that it will be
Yes,
resolved.
yes, I have been doing that from day one, and I have told him that on several occasions. And
Yes.
I continue to do that. I told him I continue to pray for him. I was in his office up to about 2 months ago, and
Mm,
I messaged his head nurse up to today, and I told her the same thing as well, keeping them, he and the entire staff and team in my prayers at all times. And he knows that. He knows
yes,
that.
yes.
So,
And we
like I said, I just wanted to share, those few heartfelt comments about Dr. Staley Griffith.
thank you so much, Judith. And thank you. God bless.
You're more than welcome, Marcy. God bless.
Yes, yes. And she said she's doing praying for Dr. Griffith. We also pray for the Motley family, who, they have lost a loved one as well. The whole thing is just it's difficult for everybody involved. Yes, we must pray for everybody. Okay, all involved. But I want us, as we go out, as we, we're coming to the end of the show. I want to just ask us, what do you think about how cases are fast tracked, or how does it get to the top if there are so many cases, but there's a backlog. Who saw the newspaper article yesterday about the backlog of cases? Anybody saw that? Anybody saw it? The backlog of cases? If that is the case, how did I don't understand. I don't understand how it reached, it got attended. I was asking this question from a long time ago. I was asking Caswell when Caswell was on. Caswell, how did how did this get here? How did it get here this quickly? When there are regular people like that lady who they took out her womb, or she was given a hysterectomy, and then they found out nothing was wrong. They made a mistake, and she has not had any redress to her situation, no day in court as yet. What about the parents whose children were born deformed, or all kinds of things happening to them because according to them the way the birth was, the child, the birthing happened at the hospital. I mean, we've heard the horror stories at QH. I had a friend who went there And he's saying because his mother was not attended to and left for days to sit in a chair. And she went there very, very sick, fell on the floor in the bathroom, and they took her there, and they had her for almost 3 days sitting in a chair. What about him? You know, it just make you, somebody said different courses, so different horses. Yeah, I know of cases like you, Monica, 30 or more years, and it hasn't been called yet. How do cases float to the top? I don't understand that part. I really don't understand. It's, you know. Yeah. M. Gardner saying the name, color, social, and economic background counts in this place. It seems so to me. Yeah. They created an uneven playing ground. Barbadians, this I think has nothing to do with the case itself and the details of the case. I believe that every Barbadian needs to ask the question: how was this case fast tracked? Is there in law a reason? Like, how do you determine which ones which ones will go to trial? Is there a way that I told you I'm not a lawyer? I don't know. But just I'm just thinking, what about that lady with the hysterectomy? I think that Barbadians need to wake up to this particular thing, because this is something that to me now it just looks unjust, right? That people should have cases, a backlog of cases, 30 years. I heard today some people have cases 20 years. Some people dead and gone and the case don't call yet. And somebody said justice delayed. Is it justice denied? Delayed justice is just like denied justice. Things that the ones that got the money and position are fast track. Is that really what it is? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Who determines? Pardon my ignorance, but who determines the cases that should go to trial? How are they fast tracked? You know. Somebody said it looks disgusting to us as a people how they throw the wealth around in this country. So you're saying the Chief Justice. Now the Chief Justice, I remember us doing a whole show on this, and Caswell's biggest thing was this, is that there's a problem there, because his Caswell's, I remember well, he was saying that the relationship there, it seemed a little strange. Somebody said it's called the sociology of medicine. Wow. Yeah. These are things to think about in terms of justice. Yeah, so I agree, because the family needs to get answers, but I think you should fall in line like everybody else. Yeah, You should fall in line like everybody else. And we need to ask the Chief Justice needs to answer that question. How did this case flow to the top? Chief Justice, how did it get to the top? Can you explain to the people who are there waiting for 30 years and 20 years with their case? I mean, Barbadians, think about it. The same blood running in everybody's veins in here. And when we suffer, we all suffer. Yes, questions need to be asked. The family want answers, but also the lady with that lost her womb. And the others that are messaging me on my phone right now as the show is going on, telling me of their situation. People have cases waiting 30, 20 years. Is it an abuse of power? I don't know. Is it an upright? Yeah, I took the time to bring awareness in this matter because I think that it's important for us to try to understand it. Huh? Right? There's no justice. It doesn't look like justice to us. It doesn't. So the Chief Justice needs to tell us, because, okay, if there's a backlog, there's a backlog. But how do you fast track a case? How do you determine this thing just happened? You have to say just when you are waiting for 30 years? And when your grandmother dead and gone and the case don't call yet? Don't try it. Somebody wrote, Marcia, they have one law for the Medes and another law for the Persians. I agree with this person that said they are doing these things in plain sight. This is the same government, the same family, the same Motley that took her sister, remember? Just the other day, we were going on holidays and I was away, but they took her sister and who used to run a restaurant, as far as I know. I don't know all of her bio or CV, but she is now, isn't she now leading one of the tourism agencies overseas? These things, I mean, people, Barbadians, we have to wake up. We have to wake up. There's no royalty in here. There's no royal family in here. Your family not more royal than mine. That I must suffer. And I have gone through something at the hospital, waiting 20, 30 years, and my case can't try yet, can't go to court yet, and something happened, 2.5, 3 years, and I hear judgment given. How I must feel? Huh? How I must feel? It's not right. Chief Justice, you need to answer. See, Andrea Moore lost her mom in 2022 to surgery. Did she get, I don't know if she's checking into if there was negligence. We all know that it don't even make sense. Some people say it don't even make sense. I met somebody and I was saying to them, why don't you, they start to break down crying, say it don't even make any sense. So justice for you, but none for me. Because my family don't matter. And yes, that family has a right to look into the case. They do. They do. They do. Right? They do. But the big question is, how did it get to the top? People saying they lost family. This one said they lost it in the QH for negligence. These things not right. Barbadians, you understand? And do you realize that they're just doing it plain for us to see? The Prime Minister appoint her friend as a Chief Justice. Let's spell this part out. This part I can spell out. She appoint her friend, our friend, this is our friend as Chief Justice. The whole thing come right around and making sense. And you're going to tell me that this is this really what she's doing? Yeah, we're in serious trouble. And this is why at the beginning of the program, I spoke to you about corruption and how it's so important. Never again, Barbados. Never again. Never again. Don't give anybody 30 love, because I don't know. I'm asking question how this case floated to the top. And then secondly, on what merit? What's the merit of of her sister being given that big job in the UK, a tourism job? What is the merit, and what's the basis for it? And that's done so plain, and we don't have the uproar about it. In some countries, you have to recall her. She have to come back. She have to wheel and come again, take by the plane and come back home. And people here with cases for 30 years and 20 years. People here have families died because of negligence. You know how many at the hospital and there's no justice for them? And that is wrong. That is wrong. That is wrong. Power and absolute power corrupts. See, that is what 30 love does. You hear? And so when you're skinning your teeth and you're laughing, oh, they get 30 love. You get 30 love. That's what you got. Yeah, we need to be much more mature, understanding what is going on, because in the end, it's going to affect you. Yes, Mr. Murray always said family, friends, and fornicators. All right, folks, this is where we sign off tonight. And I just want to say thank you all for joining us, and I hope you learned something. And if there's anything that you have seen, you can always research and yourself, and go look on the internet, go and search it. If I said it on here, and you can call me and let me know if it's right or wrong. All right, if you found something that's very different from what I shared, you can, and I will come on and I will correct it. It's no problem. Okay, thank you all so very much. And don't forget to keep praying for little Amaya. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It's coming through for Amaya, and we are excited. We are excited. And remember, the children of Maturu, donations of $25 or more for the year. And those children will be at least set for breakfast in the mornings as when they go to school. Thank you. I love you all. God bless you. Thank you, Dave. Great job. Thanks, everybody, for joining, and all the guests. Thank you so very much for being on. Senator Walters and my brother Bob, brother Robert, brother Bob, who was on and shared his story with us. Thank you all so very much. God bless you. We did not talk about Congo tonight because it was quite a bit. I think I bit off a bit more than I could chew. But I've got it ready, and we will do that, God willing, on Friday. Okay? Bye-bye.